Okay, so I'll just start with a bit of introductions. My name is Mohammed, and I'm a volunteer for Wikipedia. And happy to have all of you join us. Those who are going to be on the YouTube, yeah, you can leave us questions there as well. And I hope this session goes well. Basically, we are just going to do a quick recap of what the project is about, and then I would do a demo of how to create an article in Dagbani. And then while this video is going to be recorded, you can always use that as a reference to remember what we talked about, and also to see how you could follow the same process to create new articles or to edit articles on Wikipedia. Yeah, so anyone wants to go next? Just your name, and if you want to tell us where you are from, Tamale or somewhere. I'm based in Accra.
Hello. Okay, hello, my name is Sadiq Shahadu. I'm also a volunteer for Wikipedia, and I live in Accra. Happy to be here. Next, Khadija. So we have two Khadijas on the call. So I think Khadija Abubakar can start. Khadija, you are muted. Okay. Hello, Khadija. Khadija, you are on. Khadija, we can hardly hear you. Can you increase your volume a little?
I can hear Khadija.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Hello.
Hello, second Khadija.
Hello. Okay, so I'm Khadija Bakari. I'm a professional teacher, and I also want to be a volunteer for the media project on the Dagbani.
Nice
All right.
to have you all.
Hello.
I think we both were on the last meeting.
Okay, so I think we're done with the introductions. I'm just going to explain a little bit more of what we are doing. So basically, as people are already aware, there is something called Wikipedia, and you know, everyone would have encountered Wikipedia before at some point in their life. When you go online and you search for whatever you want to search for, you would likely be directed to Wikipedia. Sometimes you don't even realize that you are reading Wikipedia because it's become so popular. But the biggest, so there are more than 300 Wikipedia versions in different languages. And in Ghana, we currently have about 3 or so Wikipedias in Chi, Ewe, and I think in Fanti also, yeah. So basically, we are trying to create a Dagbani version of Wikipedia, which is already, far advanced in the process. And we are soliciting help from community to actually help us create more articles to actually build a community around the process, and just to get a little bit of activity on the project that would enable us to actually become a full Wikipedia in the very near future. So that is what we are working toward. We are also working on another project called translatewiki.net, but I'm not going to we're not going to talk about translatewiki.net today. That will be for another time. Basically, what translatewiki.net does is that it allows, applications like Google or, just web applications or mobile applications that people develop. The interfaces that you go to, sometimes you are able to switch to different languages, and then you can see the content in different languages. So, and usually that is enabled by translatewiki.net because it allows people to translate the terms that these applications rely on to render the information in the chosen language of the application user. So with Wikipedia, we already have a process in the incubator that is ongoing. And currently, we want to simply build on the incubator and then get people more involved in it, get a little bit more diversity in the kinds of articles that we are creating. So I'm really excited that people are happy to join us and are willing to contribute. So regardless of the fact that this is a Dagbani Wikipedia project, it has similarities to the other larger Wikipedias. Okay. And I think I'll just share my screen and explain a little bit about how we should go about this. Let me see how to do that. Share my screen. Where is that? Okay, share screen. Okay, if my screen is being shared, basically, let's minimize this first. How do I do that? Okay, if you can see my screen, then I will just proceed. I think you can, right? Okay. So, like I mentioned, this is a project that is open for people to participate and contribute. So there are no restrictions as to, who is able to add something and who cannot add something. The only restriction is that you follow a few guidelines that would make the community, appreciate whatever you're adding on the platform. And having said that, I think, no, that is not from my end. Yeah, so basically anyone can contribute to Wikipedia. Sorry, I had a noise on my phone. I thought it was coming. Anyone can contribute to Wikipedia, and it's not very difficult. There are just a few fundamental rules that you need to follow. Basically, the contents that we add to Wikipedia should be written from a neutral point of view, as in, they shouldn't be suggestive. There shouldn't be content that are biased. They should merely be presenting what is already available, and then you are going ahead to summarize it. And then that content also, there should be a way to verify that content, as in where it's coming from. So references are very important on this project, and I'll do a demonstration of how to add references later. But whatever you add to Wikipedia, you should be able to add a reference that shows us where that content is coming from. With that, we are going to restrict people adding things that might not be credible or verifiable. So take notice of that. And then we also, because this is a collaborative process, we need you to be able to only add content that doesn't necessarily relate to you, in the sense that you can't go and do original research somewhere and based on your findings, you think that findings is important enough to be on Wikipedia. That can be very controversial, and as a result, we do not accept original research on Wikipedia. You can only add content that have been produced by entities other than yourself. And also concerning the content itself, there's a huge diversity of what you could add. You could add whatever interests you. You can write about, I don't know, like settlement. You can write about history. You can write about people in government. You can write about musicians. You can write about anything that really interests you. And these are, some of the key things that you need to know to be able to.
Lastly, hold on. I see Techno Common 11 Pro. Your hand is up. Do you have any question? I see you have raised your hand.
Or was he just waving?
No, inside the chat and the Zoom, he showed the sign that he has a question. Okay, so we can go.
All right. So these are the basic things you need to know. Be neutral and don't conduct original research here. And basically, isn't written properly, go ahead and fix it. And always, try to seek consensus. There may be contentious statements sometimes. And in that case, it's usually advisable to sort of, talk to the community that, tell the community that this is not supposed to be written that way. And if you have the potential to fix it, go ahead and then fix it. And there are discussion pages. We call them talk pages where you could go and then, discuss content related question. No, where you could go and then discuss, contents that are on the Wikipedia. I would show you that in a minute. So these are the key things that you need to know. Usually in practice, it becomes easier to understand these very key principles. So with that, I would simply do a demo and then show you how to create a new article, because that is why we're here. So if I hide this. So this is the test Wikipedia, the Dagbani test Wikipedia. How do I hide this button? Okay. It should still go somewhere down. How do I hide? Okay, well, never mind. So this is what we have, and I'm going to start an article. And I do that by going to this box called Filmillah Balpalle. And there you type in the name of an article that you want to write. So I want to write about Al-Hassan Bayo Saini, for example. Then I should zoom in first. Okay, Al-Hassan Bayo Saini, and then I click on Filmillah Balpalle. That takes me to the interface where I can input my text. Now you would see that you can create source here, or you can simply create what you see, what you get. This is the visual editor interface when you use the create. And then this is an interface that is more familiar with people who are into computer programming, but we don't want to use that. We want to just use the create source that allows us to type in and then see what we are typing in, how it's going to render. So my screen sharing is having a little difficulty. I'm just going to stop sharing and then try it again.
Hello. Techno Common 11. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Nokia 3.1. I see some funny names here, and Galaxy S9. You're all welcome here. This is just the beginning of the meeting. We haven't done much, and I'm not sure you have lost anything. But along the way, if you have any question, just feel free to jump in with any question. Then we'll address that for you. So while we wait for Sadat to come in, I just want us to know that this is our second meeting. The last time we met was last week's. We started the introductions and the project ideas and the reason why we are bringing all the team together. There are so many things we want to do, and we may not be able to share everything on the group. So we decided that at least once a while we should organize calls like this to allow us to be able to interact in real life. We were supposed to actually host a physical workshop, but because of the COVID-19 restrictions, we wouldn't be able to do that. Maybe we can do that sometime later. And it is, I also want to believe that most of us have our accounts created already. And while Sadat is doing the demonstration, we should be able to do that after the call. We can practice on our own. All right, thank you. Over to you, Sadat.
I'm muted. I hope
Okay.
my screen is visible now. And yeah. So I'm going to write about Alas and Wayo Seni. So this is where once I click on the create, another create source, I get the interface to start typing. I have a text that was prepared already. Let's see. Okay. So first, the introductory sentence that I want to write is that Alas and Wayo Seni nyela bandu aso Solomon Gwale September Pinai, that is 13 September 1945. Konyela politician Begana Tengbanne. So this is more like an intro to who it is. Okay. And whilst you write, it's usually advisable that you save along the way. Anything can happen. You could, have a power cut, or you could have internet connectivity issues. So I will just publish, and you do that by going to publish page on the top right under here. And in the publish,
Please mute yourself if you are not talking.
no. So admin, you can mute them from your end, I think.
All right.
Okay, so if I go to publish page, I get this summary that allows me to describe the changes that I just made. So I can see that I started a new article and then I publish. So when I publish, now this is online on the project, okay? But I also need to be able to add a reference to this statement. But before I add a reference to that statement, I will just add another sentence to it. So I could also say that I could talk more about the fact that he was a previous MP for the past I think from 2005 to 2009. So I go again to edit, and then I can add that sentence which says that Onyala Jintuar Kuro Zanti Tamal Central Ghana to the Alplo. Then by unit 2005, Harani unit 2009 since when. Okay, this is another sentence I just added. So I prefer to publish it right now. Now I need to, like I said, all the statements here, we need to find a way of adding references to them so that they are credible to whoever is reading it. So I do that by going to edit once again, and then I add a paragraph, which is a heading, and I add my references. But references obviously is English. So someone proposed that we use, and these are not set in stone. We could always, revisit it and change it. We should use Kundi Vihrogo for references, which makes a lot of sense to me. So I do that. And then now I want the references to appear under Kundi Vihrogo. So how do I do that? I go to insert, and I only have to do this once. I add a reference list so that the references are going to be listed under it. Okay, so again, let's publish. Nope, that's not going to work. Let's go back and then do it again. You can always discard the changes that you make that you feel isn't right. So I'm adding it again. I'm adding a heading. I go to paragraph. Oops. I go to paragraph heading. Okay. Then I add this. If I click enter, I go to insert again. And then I go to the template that's going to allow the references to render in order. Okay, so I add a template. And because it's still in the incubator, we have to go through this process because there are other languages that are still incubating. So we need to make sure that we are using the templates that are designed for the Dagbani language. So I type this, and then I add a ref list. Okay, and then I insert the ref list. So I go ahead and I publish. So the reason why I added a ref list is that now whenever I add a reference to any of these statements, it's going to appear under Kundi variable as a new reference. Okay, so for this statement that says that he is born on the 13th of September 1945, and he's a Ghanaian politician. We have a reference that supports that. And that reference is the Ghana Parliamentary Register, 2004 to 2008. Okay, so I come back here to add that reference to this first statement. So I go to insert, I click on more, I go to basic reference, And then in the basic reference, I'm just going to add the templates that we created already. Again, we have to go through this process because it's still in the incubator. But once it gets out of the incubator, we will not have to use this process. It's going to be slightly different and slightly easier. So I am citing a book, and all I need is the name of the book because the book isn't online. So the book is Ghana Parliamentary Register, and then I insert, and then I go ahead and publish. And then I add a summary that I just added a reference. So you can see that this first statement I just added now has a reference that tells us, where that information is coming from. The second statement, which says that Onyala Jintora, how do you know that Jintora knew? And it even says that Oranyala Jintora from 2005 to 2009. How do you know that this is true? Again, we have a reference for that, which is this. Okay, so this website on allafrica.com confirms that he is a past MP for the Tamale Central. So I need to be able to I could use this reference for that. So I just copy the URL of the reference, and then I come to the end of the statement, and I click on edit, and then I insert a basic reference. And in the basic reference, I am inserting a web address, okay? So I'm citing a web page. So I need to be able to add the URL of the web page. I could also add the title of the web, the article. I could add the title. I could even go ahead and add the author of that particular article. I could also go ahead and add the date if I want. And then I insert it as a reference. And then I publish. Okay, I just added a reference. So you can see that, this statement that says that he is a past MP from 2005 to 2009 has a reference now that someone can go and then verify. Okay. After adding these two references, let me expand the article a little bit. I could say also a little about his political life. But before that, I could talk about his education, where he went to school and then how he started. So I go to edit. I want that as a new section. So I go to paragraph, I add a heading, and then I can type Oshokoro Bangsam. This might not be the appropriate way of saying it, but again, it's a wiki. Anyone can go and then change it. So I'm now going to add a content. Like I said, someone translated this for me already, so I just have to copy and then come and paste it. So why Shukuru Bangsam Buhambuda Chandela Pukparlam? He was an agricultural sciences. And Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology Kuda Buham. Okay. And then I'm also talking a little bit about the fact that he had a degree in Pukparlam Tabim agricultural sciences. That is fine, but how does someone know that this is reliable information? Again, that information can be found in the Ghana Parliamentary Register. So I use that as my reference. So I go, once I am at the end of the sentence, I just click on insert. I go to more. Because I already created that reference, I can simply reuse that reference. So I click on reuse, and then I can reuse the first one because that is where that information is. Then I save or publish. Added more information. Basically, we do the summary because you don't have to do it, but later on, I'll show you when someone is going through the revision article of the revision history of the article, they would be able to see bit by bit how the article was built. So when I publish, you see that reference, so the first statement and the second statement uses, sorry, this first statement and then this statement, they use the same reference. So it's just this 1.0 and 1.1, gives it that distinction. Okay. Let's add a few more sentences to build this article up. Let's talk a little bit about his political life as a new section. Okay, so I go to edit. I click on enter, and then I add a paragraph, which is a heading. So Siasa Yala as his political life. Okay, again, I had someone translate this. I just have to copy and paste it. So this is talking about the fact that while Daniela Bonipice Utamali Central Constituency Yali Jintwara, Kuzantilium Party in 2004, people Dindan Ghana Tangbanela. And also I can add some more to that. Talking about, how the election went and the percentage that he got. So Nirobam currently par to period now that is 61,000 and unvoted too. And then I'm also talking here a little bit about the percentage that he got, which is 58%, which is yeah, only that currently sharing Ndima Varala Penu Nai. Okay, so but then again, how are we sure that that information is reliable? So I already did my research, and then I have a URL that actually backs up that statement. So I got those percentages from a publication on graphic.com. So I can copy the URL and then I can add it here. So I'm adding a reference. Okay, a basic reference. And the basic reference, I am adding, I'm trying to cite this web address. So I need a URL, which I can enter here. I also need, I could use the title of the article. I could also use the author of the article. I could also add the date, 13 February. 13 February 2020. And then I insert, and and then I publish. So added reference. And then what happens? Now that statement, all of this can be traced back to that particular reference that I just added, which was written by Samuel Dodu. And this is a link to the article. So let's just add one more sentence and then we can be done with that. What is left? What is left is Otuma, what he has been doing. So I go here to edit again. And I can add a new section, which is a header. And what am I adding? I'm adding his, like something like his career. And I translate that as Tuma. Okay. So Wanyela Nguntum Zanjande Bunkwabgo Gulbu, he was an animal husbandry scientist. And Oranyela Karambabe, University of Ghana. And Kalanya MPP party vice chairman some time ago. Again, how do you know that this information is, credible? By adding a reference to it. So we have a reference that I know. Okay, I got that information from this website, Ghana Web. So I can just copy the URL. I insert a reference. And what kind of reference is it? It's a web reference. So I add the URL here. I can also add the title of the article on my Ghana Web. I could also go ahead and add a date. There's no author, so we can leave that. The date. So there are like 1, 2, 3 plus 20 more fields that you could, possibly fill. For example, you can add a publisher, which is Ghana Web, but you don't have to add everything. The most important thing is to add the URL so that people can follow and then read where you're getting that information from. So I publish this added reference, and that is it. So this is how we can keep building this article till it becomes, full-fledged, that people are going to enjoy reading it. Another thing that you would want to add are categories. So basically, categories allow us to find similar articles. For example, if I add a category called, we said that he was a KNUST alumni. So if I add a category that says that he's a KNUST Karen Bikuru, a past KNUST student. I've just added that category called KNUST alumni, which shows that he's a KNUST Karen Bikuru. If I do that, and then there are, let's say, 100 other articles, and we have some of them also went to KNUST, I could simply follow the link of the category, and then I would see all the people who also went to KNUST. This is not a person, it's just a test. Okay, let's add another category, and then you would probably get a better understanding of. I could add another category called, what should I add? Ghana's, the fact that he's a Ghanaian politician. So I can say that. Zoom in a little. I just added another category that says that he's a Ghanaian politician, Ghana Siyasanema. So again, if we had, 100 articles, and some of them were talking about Ghanaian politicians, some had Nigerian politicians, some had United States politicians. If you went to that category called Ghana Siyasanema, you would see articles related only to Ghanaian politicians, big Ghana Siyasanema. So that is why adding categories are, quite useful. Let's add two more categories. Let's add the fact that, what else is there to add? Let's add the fact that Dagbani. So I could add a category called Dagbamba. For the same reason, we can always find people who have articles in Dagbani and are Dagbamba. One more. Let's add, what do we add? Okay, let's add the fact that he was a Ghanaian MP from 2005 to 2009. So I add a category 2005 to 2009, Ghana, Jintora. Okay, so now we have an article with, a number of sections. This is the intro section. We talked a little bit about his education, his political life, his work, and what he has done. Then we have the references. And then also we have the categories. And with this, if someone reads this, they would be excited that at least there's an article that is well referenced, that is not just an opinion, but a well-researched and thoroughly thought through article. A few things that I would like, we have a few minutes left, a few things that I would like you to see in this demo is something called derivation history. And that is on every Wikipedia page, you would see something called a revision history. Now, the revision history, if I go there, it tells me, it gives me a timestamp of all the changes that have happened to this article. So you can see that I started this article at 10:32, the date and the time is there. And then you remember the, what do you call it? The summaries that I was adding. So basically, these summaries are just there to guide someone looking at the revision history to see that, oh, so this particular time, this is what I did. I started this article. If later on someone edits the article and then adds, that he has 5 children and he was married twice or whatever, and the person also adds a summary that is quite easy to read, then you could follow that at this particular time, someone added this particular information. And so you can see my username, MESSSLY, and the timestamps. That is what the revision history tells us. Let's come back to the article. Another thing I would like you to see, if there are questions, we have just a few minutes, please interrupt me. But one last thing I just wanted to show you before we end the session is the, what was it again? Yeah, the discussion. So on every Wikipedia page, you would see a discussion next to it. And that discussion is what we call the articles talk page. Okay, so, and what are the talk pages used for? So assuming there's something contentious about what I've written here, and someone thinks it should be changed or it needs to be discussed and then refined, the person could, probably come to the discussion page here and then just say something that let's say the person thinks he was not educated at Kane University for whatever reason. The person, yeah, so the person could say, yeah, I do not think he was educated at Kane University. And something should be done about it, and the person can just leave their signature. Okay. So although the person could have gone ahead on the page and simply change this to whatever school he thinks he went to, maybe University of Ghana, but the person is being civil and trying to talk it through with whoever started the article first and say, well, I think he didn't go to Kane University and these are my reasons, blah, blah, blah. And then you can discuss it here, come to a conclusion in a civil manner. And then one of you could decide to come and then make that correction here. Okay, so that is what the discussion pages are used for. And my time is up, 11 o'clock. So let's see if people have questions very quickly before we just run up and then close.
Do we have any question? If you have any question, please feel free. And I can see some few other people joining us. Ali, you are welcome. So we've just gone through the article creation in Dagbani, and we are seeking for questions. If you have questions, if you don't understand any part of the demo, just let us know so we can address it before we move to the next stage. No question?
If there are no questions, then I think people understand because it's a fairly, not very difficult.
That Alassane, looks like you were talking. Do you have any question? You are muted. You would need to unmute yourself if you have any question.
Hello.
Hello. Hello.
I don't know if it's possible for us to organize another meeting because some of us were having a program with the internet. So from the beginning up to the end, because I joined later part, but I don't understand most of what is going on.
Okay, all right. I think that is fair enough. But as we are on this call, we've recorded a lesson. It is live on YouTube. In case you want to go through every bit of what we've shared here, and at the same time, we will be having these conversations going. We'll be having workshops like this where people join and learn. So the whole call is recorded. You can always feel free to go back and watch it. It's an hour video. And if you have any question, you can just ping us the WhatsApp group. I hope this has answered your question. Okay. And we also
yes,
have time for
Khadija
you.
speaking here.
One-on-one, you can also ping any of us. If you need one-on-one training, I'm always available to support. So you can schedule a day with me on a video that can take you through. Okay,
Okay.
Khadija, go on.
Okay, I posted a question on the chat room. I don't know whether you saw it. The number of
The WhatsApp.
times one
Yeah,
is
I saw the question.
no.
Yeah, so I saw the question.
Just this.
Okay, I think Khadija is freezing up, so I'm just going to repeat the question that she wrote and then try and explain it quickly. I think we can do with 7 more minutes because we started quite late. So she's asking that how many times can we reuse a reference? So the answer is you can reuse a reference, as many times as you need it to support the sentence that you are adding. So unlimited number of times, if I can put it that way. There's no limit.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay. So I think we are done with the article creation and the demonstration, and we would want to go to the next item on the agenda quickly before we wrap up. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, we would like to talk about the
Okay, so that is,
upcoming.
yeah, there's an upcoming contest that we are working on currently. And the contest is going to be called My Northern Achiever Contest. You can read more about it on our website. Basically, what we are trying to do is to get people to create articles about notable people from the North. And instead of, coming up with our own criteria or list for who is notable, we simply relied on the people that my Northern Achiever program on Sagani TV interview, so that we don't have to answer the question of why is this person not notable or that person is more included or not included in the list. So we are relying on the people on the list that my Northern Achiever program on Sagani TV interviews. That is currently they've spoken with they've had like 40 interviews. So the contest is going to be a month-long contest where we are going to have people write about, participants write about these people in Dagbani. Then we would also have English articles for people who want to write in English, and then we would have Wikidata entries for people who want to do the Wikidata create Wikidata items for those entities as well. So that contest would start in September, right? Yeah, September 24th. It's going to run for 1 month, but I know it will take far more less than 1 month because it's just 40 people. And we are trying to see how we could, get a little funding to support people with internet access because it's a bit challenging for most people. People are really excited to contribute, but they don't have access to internet. So we are going to support people who participate in this contest with, something small for them to use to sort themselves out for internet. Is there anything else to add about that, Sadiq, maybe?
Okay, all right. So that is it about the contest. People, I'm sure most people will be happy about it because there are awards and more or less like prizes. Hope that a lot of people participate in the contest. So I think we are done. Um, Next.
Yeah, so that is it. We've run out of time, unfortunately. So I just moved the other items down for next time if we get time to do another online meeting. But I just wanted people to create accounts, as some of the action items that you can take away from this meeting. Try and create an account and add yourself to the list of project participants on our website. You can try and make at least one edit on the Dagbani Wikipedia. Again, the link is on the website. We can share it on the Telegram, on the WhatsApp chat again. You don't have to create an article from scratch. You can always edit an article that already exists. For example, the Why You Saying It article I just created, it still needs, a lot more work. You can help expand it. And yeah.
So, Marcel, just a quick one. Can you demonstrate? I think most of them were having challenges signing their names onto the members page. No, okay, let's do the preference first. We've done a video on that already. Let's set our preferences. If you can demonstrate that to us, how we can set our preferences to Dagbani on our accounts.
Yeah, so what is this? Okay, this is this. I'm going to share my screen again. Oh, I'm already sharing. So basically, on the incubator, you don't have your preferences set already to Dagbani. And that means that you might not get, you might not have this when you go to incubator. You might not be seeing what I'm currently highlighting here, but it's simply a shortcut to the Dagbani project. So you can go to the main page, you can already see the recent changes, and then you can go to a random page that someone has created already. So you can change that by going to, and also if you set your preferences to Dagbani, it sort of allows us to see like the number of contributors who are working on the project. So you can do that by going to preferences, and in preferences, let me zoom out a bit, it's too large. In preferences, you go to internationalization, then the test wiki would be Wikipedia, and then the test wiki language. So that is where you add DAG, which is the ISO code for Dagbani. Then you simply save. So I have already added Dagbani to my test as my test wiki language. But you can do that as well, and then you can just save.
Okay, thank you so much, Marcel. So this, as you said, would allow us to know, we'll be able to see who are editing the Dagbani Wikipedia. And since all of us will be editing with Dagbani Wikipedia, I would highly recommend that we all set our preferences to Dagbani so that we can track who is editing, and if you have any challenge, you know what is happening on the Dagbani Wikipedia page. So I think we are done for that, and we'll schedule another meeting to discuss the ones that we are not able to cover because of the time. So at this point, if you still have any question, we'll be happy to hear from you. Any question regarding article creation, preferences, the contest in general? Last Mohammed, we can hear you.
Yes, I just want to say hi and to apologize for joining late. I actually was aware of the time. Unfortunately, I had a call from a friend who has given me some assignment that I needed to meet the deadline. So I'm sorry for that. I know I've missed a lot, and I'll not send you back, but maybe in the course of the discussion, at least I'll try and catch up. Thank you very much. Lovely family. I'm so happy to be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining as well. And as I mentioned, the video is just available as we are watching it now. It's on YouTube. You can just go back and watch
Okay.
everything from the beginning.
Wow, that's nice. That's so nice. Okay, yeah, that's okay.
So
Thank you.
everything has been recorded for you. All right. Thank you so much.
Yes, yes, especially the signing, and then I just met you explaining something about the is it the change in the Dagbani something. Actually, I don't have any idea about this Wikipedia something, so that's why I want to be part of it. I know it's a good yeah, but, yeah, the agenda is good, and I want to be part of it. I want to make sure we succeed in this one. So I'll go to YouTube and then I'll go through it and see if I'm able to. If I'm finding challenges with any of the explanations, I'll get in touch. Thank you so much.
Okay, so I think we can take a picture and then I think those here you can give Sadik your name or yeah, so that yeah, because that's all from me at the moment. All right, so I think Sadiq is muted. So I was saying that if you want to, let's take a quick picture, you know, before we end. If you don't mind turning on your camera, but if you don't want to be in the picture, so no problem. So I'm just going to take a screenshot of it in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, I've taken the snapshot. So yeah, so that is it. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see everyone again on the WhatsApp page, and let's keep talking and then see how it goes. All right.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye. Lovely
Bye.
family.